I know you're trying to avoid comparing your state government with other state governments for obvious reasons, but in reality, given what you've known, given your assessments, do you think that that's something that can be done elsewhere?
Well, we believe that is very critical, and we arrive at this conclusion based on research, because the Peace Building Agency, which is headed by an expert, Joseph Lengis, is an agency that operates with other international bodies like the GIZ of Germany and other international bodies, such that they come in, we look at past research. We've tried some of these things for the past 3 years, and that accounts for the success story. That is why today, even though Mr. President is going around commiserating with people, in Plateau, it was a celebration visit, such that 4 key projects were commissioned. The Maraba Jama Road to Bukuru Express, which, by appreciation of what Mr. President has done, has been remained Muhammadu Buhari way. So a lot of
I want to get into like the funding component of that agency, for example. Yeah. Are there kind of supplements given out to some of these groups? Is there a financial element to this, or is this a simple matter of kumbaya, let's get everybody together and hash out whatever differences we might have? What are some of the micro factors there?
Well, first and foremost, the agency is empowered by law. A law was passed by the Plateau State House of Assembly, which empowered the agency. Which brought on stream the agency, which means it has the power to be able to receive funding from government and also international organizations. And we see their performance as something that is very, very critical. The world over, you find conflicts in every society. If you go to countries where they have the same religion, there are other areas that create conflict. If you go to areas where they even share the same religion, the same tribe, you find that there are other areas that also create conflict. So as human beings, we come to accept that there must be conflict where there are communities, but there must also be strategies to be able to identify early warnings from those areas and be able to deploy proactive strategies.
Well, you've talked about the inputs in terms of, you've talked about kind of the financial inputs. What I want to ask about is the outputs. Are there things being given out to certain groups to kind of incentivize the process of peace? That's what I'm trying to get at.
And that is why I was talking about the content of the entrepreneurship, that of training youth, that of creating opportunities. As I speak with you, the Plateau State government has been identified as the state that is going to operate the potato value chain. And now that is a critical aspect. Right now, an approval was received by the Federal Executive Council, even though the money has not yet been accessed. But it's going to create a value chain for potato production in all the 17 local government areas. And it will be such that from the inception, that is the farming, the production, the distribution, and the sale, will create a value chain across. And this is in partnership with the African Development Bank. You recall that we have Dr. Kuyemu, who is there. And when he came to Plateau and saw those possibilities, he quickly assisted with those funding. So by the time it comes on stream, it's also going to play a bigger role in engaging people, especially the youth, across the 17 local government area. That project alone will employ 60,000
Mr. Dati, I really want to get into, implicit in kind of this, policy, if you will, is this idea that herdsmen can be kind of brought into a peace process, that indeed they're not just mindless killers. That's the idea, essentially, that you're presenting. Do you think that that's the case everywhere? Or can we say that it's one stream, that these herdsmen are just maybe economically disadvantaged or being displaced? Or is it a matter of, look, there are some mad people just killing people that we simply cannot pacify? How do you make those distinctions, and how do you deal with that?
Well, all over, the idea of cattle rearing and ranching is being redefined. Most communities see ranching as a better alternative, and that is where we stand on the plateau, such that when you create the enablement for some of these herders to be able to be in a particular location, and the government provides certain infrastructure, like it's done in other sectors, just like we are doing with the potato value chain, it enables and encourages them to step up from the pedestrian way of doing things to a more formalized system where government can not only encourage the grazing, the ranching, but also bring in things like veterinary attention, new stock, livestock, education on veterinary issues that will empower the people. So the advantages of ranching is so enormous, and that is why in Plateau State we are looking at that direction, because we need to accommodate different interests and different pressures.
Essentially turning crisis into an opportunity.
Thank you very much, Anjuri.
Well, it is interesting that sadly we're not able to touch more on, you know, how you've been able to wade through this farmers, I mean, this indigent settler dichotomy, which a lot of people believe was at the heart of the conflict on the plateau. But then we will talk about it hopefully in the coming days. We have to thank you most kindly for coming on Sunrise Daily. Mr. Dati is the Commissioner for Information in Plateau State. Sunrise Daily continues in a moment. Please stay with us.